Okay, I think it's going. Mark's just gonna shake the table like crazy. Say hi.
Do you want half a bagel?
You said there's no bagels.
There's half a bagel. Do you want the half of the bagel?
Oh. Oh, I'm streaming. I just started my
Will you
stream.
eat a bagel live?
Probably not now. You can
Okay.
have it. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday at 10:57. That's Lost. Lost in the morning. And I'm still assembling leg parts. I don't know. I'm on leg 2, version 2, revision 3. Yes. And I had Shape Daddy come over last night and assess all of the stuff that I was talking about during yesterday's stream, and I came to some conclusions about some things. I was able to actually assemble the parts that I printed or started printing during yesterday's stream and test them, and it looks like the moving the motor back, like the maybe 20 or so millimeters that I did in the modified design did actually fix the torque problem that I was having, that I was talking about. So a version 3 of the leg is not necessary. However, I did talk to Shape Daddy about how that would work if I were to make a version 3 of the leg that had sort of a I don't know, that used spur gears instead of pulleys to create my rotation with the kick of the foot and the lifting of the leg. I'm probably going to draw that real quick just to show you how that would have worked. I don't think I'm going to delve into that possibility quite yet because there are some other problems that I would run into if I were to try and like produce that mechanism. And that has to do with the layering of where all the gears are at on the leg itself relative to the hub of the motor. And I'll probably have to repeat all this because the stream's only been going for like 2 minutes and no one's probably here yet, but yay, you know. How is everybody? How's everybody's Tuesday or the rest of the Monday or Wednesday? I don't know. How is your day doing? And hi Ron Thomas, hi Custom Creations, hi Black Car 429. Thumbnail game explain. I have no idea. I don't know what my thumbnail looks like right now. Oh god, what was the thumbnail? I don't even know. Should I check that? Let's do it. Let's check and see what my weird thumbnail is. Now I'm concerned. My interest has been piqued. That's just my normal whatever. Interesting. I don't know why I picked that. That's kind of like my default image, I guess. I don't know, when I go to the old streaming dashboard, it has like a default image that I picked like a while ago, and that's it, so I don't know why it stuffed that in there. But anyhow, so let's see. For today's doing, I have these parts in a pile. Last night before I went to bed, I optimized even further the pieces that I printed out during the stream yesterday and then printed those. So I'm calling this the third revision of the second version. Yesterday I was on the second revision of the second version. Yeah, hope you can follow that. So this is slightly different. It's modified and optimized in some very subtle ways, but I think that once I assemble this thing, it should actually work, both the lifting and the kicking motion. And if this is the case, so long as the motors and the mechanism of the leg are capable of doing two very key things, one of them being holding up the weight of Noodle's body. If the legs can hold up the weight of Noodle's body altogether, that is good. And if the leg is still strong enough the motors still have enough torque to lift the leg once I attach the spring that's responsible for the counterbalancing, then that is also another good, important, key thing. So I guess I could probably draw this. I've got a thing for that. Here. Bam. Okay. Blip. Here, we'll talk about this in a second. But for now, I'll turn this off. And I have to plug in my, my tablet. Alright. So the thing that I might end up testing during today's stream, so long as everything goes as I'm thinking it ought to, is, as I just said, I've gotta lift the weight of the body and the counterbalancing spring force. Okay, there we go. So, I did switch this over? Yes, okay. So, all four legs, once they're on Noodle, I'm just going to draw a very crude Noodle right here. This is symbolic Noodle. So, once all four legs are on him, whatever weight is up here, it's going to be pressing down on the mechanism that I just built. The thing that I added, or it's a feature in all of Noodle's leg versions so far, is this counterbalancing spring thing. Let's see, where's my thing? Okay, so there's the crossbars of the leg, there is the femur, and then at the end there's the noodle material. That looks like a noodle. Good enough, right? So, from about, there's like a little heel bit, like a dew claw that sticks out from Noodle's fibula. So this is Noodle's fibula. And right about here, there's this other dew claw thing that sticks out the back of the femur, which is this long bone. And in between these two dew toe pieces, there's this spring. It's a tension spring. And it's calibrated in such a way that it helps offset the weight of Noodle's head, which it's not that heavy, but there's still some weight there, and it can put some strain on the motor's lift feature, which is executed by a tendon that's right about here, and it goes up and down like that. And I want to make sure that the motor that's located right about here is strong enough to still lift the leg once everything's put together. And what the motor needs to do in order to lift the leg is basically overcome the tension of this spring. So it's under a lot of stress. The thing that I'm going to have to do, or I'm realizing I'm going to have to do, is I cast these silicone tips for Noodle's feet a couple of weeks ago. And they're nice and soft and squishy. How do I spell silicone? Silicone. Yeah, silicone. Toes. There we go. They're heavy. As you would imagine, like if you just sort of made a solid, like, half sphere of silicone, they would naturally be quite hefty. These toes are, definitely weightly, and I think that my reason for kind of going forward and continuing to cast 4 of them and install them on his legs is that eventually Noodle will actually have battery cells in his legs, and they will have weight to them. I'm thinking there's going to be at least 3 in each leg to compensate for the amount of like heft it will take to drive the motors in each leg. And my mindset was that, okay, well, he's going to be lifting some amount of weight anyway eventually, so it might as well be accounted for in the design of his bare bones legs. So I was just like, why not just leave the silicone heavy toes in this version of Noodle while I'm teaching him to walk, because that weight is going to be there eventually anyway. If it turns out that the leg can't lift the actual where the hell is my, there it is. I can't actually see my my mouse thing. There we go. So if the motor can't actually lift the weight of these toes for now, I might end up replacing them. And I mentioned this yesterday, so this might end up becoming a stress ball. Stress ball. But not any stress ball, a foam stress ball, because they're a light foam stress ball. And I might end up making some silicone socks to slip over those feet. So he'll have silly socks that are nice and thin, and they can just stretch over either his socks, the outside of his socks, or just over his foot. And maybe I'll make a whole bunch of them so that they're kind of disposable, because admittedly the bottom of Noodle's feet get very gross and dirty. Blip. So, here, let's move that into the center. Save. Oh wow, I haven't saved this yet? Okay. I don't want to lose it. Anyhow, how is everybody? I'm finishing up a new rotary design for a K40 machine. Oh, sweet. So I'm not the only person doing design stuff for K40 machines. What do you mean by K40 machines? I admittedly don't know what that is. Going great, getting ready to install an exhaust system for a vacuum pump. Awesome. I've never done that. Sweet, everyone's off and doing then. I woke up this morning and I did my Japanese lesson, and then I had more coffee. And what else have I done? I don't know, but it's 11 already. Alright, so I'm gonna go over to the bench, which is this view. Oh, it's not. It's this view. There we go. I'm gonna go over here and I'm going to install these parts real quick. They should just be fine. I'm not gonna run into any hiccups like I did yesterday. And then, before Mark runs off, I might have him plug in the leg, and I can test it, and then I can show you it actually working, being driven by the motors themselves, and we can all verify together that the design functions. Oh, I was gonna do something and I didn't. I'm sorry, real quick. So yesterday I was talking about replacing the pulley lift joint with some crazy like pseudo-planetary like elbow thing that I drew right here. Let's see. I thought that oh man, where's the layer? Oh man, was it? No? There we go. So I'll use white. Right now there's somewhat of a pulley attached to the motor, and that is responsible for the lifting motion. I was thinking of replacing it with a spur gear and then some other type of gear shape, and it occurred to me when I was talking to Noodle's Shape Daddy yesterday that a partial planetary rack gear with a spur nested inside of it, like once this thing starts rotating, that's not going to actually provide the type of motion that I was imagining it would. And it kind of took me drawing it out and thinking about it a little bit for me to realize that. But once this gear, where's my stylus? There it is. Once this gear starts rotating, it would actually do the opposite of what I expect it to if it were in kind of an inverse toothed thing like this. And I had mentioned, where is it? Ah! Nope. Maybe. Not in that. I'll redraw it. Fine. So I had mentioned yesterday that for the actual shin, or the foot, the kick motion of the foot, yeah, this is a gear, bear with me. Oh gosh, these are the worst gear shapes you have ever seen. That's okay. So what I was considering doing was attaching the shin. So this is like the shin. Oh man. Directly to this gear right here. So that when this guy rotates, it actually swings the shin at this full range, back and forth. So it would just freely kind of spin with the gear. That would put some strain on the teeth. It would probably take more torque. It'd put more strain on the motor, so it's probably not the best idea. But I was thinking that it might be possible for me to use something like this on the lift axis. So we've got the leg with the noodle feet, and then the shin, the femur. So instead of having that geared mechanism rotate the foot up and down, I was thinking of doing something like that here that would rotate the entire leg up and down. So originally, as I mentioned a second ago, I was thinking that it was going to be a pinion that was caught in a partial planetary, kind of in this armpit-like shape. That would never have worked. Shape Daddy kind of confirmed that it would be, in fact, I'm gonna draw another really bad gear. I apologize for how bad this is. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. It would be a big gear in the, right here. And then there would actually be a smaller gear attached to the leg right here that would ride back and forth on the big gear, like that. So as it rotated, it would walk itself up and down this. So as this gear rotated, it would walk itself up and down on this bigger gear that was stationary, mounted to the bottom of the femur. The stipulation is that, oops. The leg assembly would need to be attached in some capacity to here, but able to rotate on this axis back and forth. That would have worked, so that would have been a potential solution for the lifting mechanism, I guess. But the problem that I knew I was going to run into had to do with how offset the pinion gear would be from the very center of the lift axis. And what I mean by that is if you're to look straight down at the leg, say this is the motor, and this is where the horn mounts. So this is like the gear shaft of the motor. It goes all the way through. This is the... I'll do this in a different color. Red is good. So this is the center... Oh my. Axis of leg. And what I mean by center axis, if you look straight down at Noodle, if this was Noodle's head from like a bird's eye view, and these were his legs, that's the center axis of the leg. The motors are mounted about here, and the horns are mounted offset from that center axis. So they're like maybe 20 or 30 or 40 even millimeters off that center axis. And that's where the, if this is the servo horn, the gear, like that spur gear, is mounted on top of that, so it's sticking out even farther. And the gear that has to mate to that, or mesh with that, that is stationary and mounted onto the femur, would also have to come out that far. So if you're looking straight down at Noodle's femur bone, you'd have Noodle's leg. This probably is making no sense at this point in time. If you're looking like bird's eye view straight down at Noodle, and this is like his leg bone, and this is the leg portion coming out, you have... Oh god. The, this would be the gear shaft of the motor, and then the mounting points on either side. There would have to be, on that femur bone, a gear to mesh with. So these would be gears. And then on the leg, there would be also gears that would mate. And that would be all fine and good and everything, except for the fact that if I have something that sticks out that far on Noodle's femur bones, as you know, those all kind of stick down from Noodle's head fairly close to one another here in the middle. So this is like his four legs. The femur bones are all kind of collected in this tight group directly underneath his head. And if the gear attached to the femur stuck out this far, when the leg rotated back and forth this way, they would collide. These gears would probably slam into one another. Potentially. And I'm not sure if everyone's following this, but I'm trying my best to explain why that would be problematic. There we go. And then there's Noodle here, who's just like, Mommy, just get it done. So, in short, this is why my V3 won't work well. And I think that I'm still not ruling it out entirely. It's not the best solution for now, so I'm going to stick with V2. So, how long have I been yammering? 20 minutes? Okay, so that's where I'm at as of now. And I'm gonna check the chat before I run over to my table and go do the assembly stuff. Yeah? Yeah. All the thumbs. So... K40 is a Chinese laser. Oh, okay, gotcha. Like a laser cutter? Or just a laser, like a raw laser. Cool. Thank you, CJ. So what is Sarah working on today? Is it the same thing as yesterday? Yes, Micus. I'm working on the leg design from yesterday, but I think that I actually have it worked out finally. So I overcame the bumps and the prombles, and I tested out the thing I printed during yesterday's stream, and it looks like it's gonna work. There's 2 features that I need to test in addition to the mechanism just working raw out of the box, but so long as it looks like it's doing what it ought to, then I can test whether the leg can hold the weight of Noodle's head and whether it can counteract the force of his counterbalancing spring bit to lift the leg. But anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to dive into the assembly, which is here. Ah, gotcha. Laser cutter engraving machine. That's cool. Mark just got a laser cutter, and it's like his new favorite toy as well. I need to use it more often. The foot bone connected to the ankle bone connected to the leg bone connected to the head bone, because Noodle's a strange little shape. Alright, I'm gonna grab have a sip of coffee. Not that I need any more coffee, but you know. Ah, it's called Kohio Kudasai. Okay. The microphone comes with me. Over here. Alright, guys. Let's see. Does this light actually help? Is that better or worse? That's worse. No. Alright. That'll do. Alright, so the difference between these pieces and the last batch is that these ones actually work. And they say revision 3 on them. So it's the 3rd revision of this version. And the way that I do things is versions go above revisions. And then I think that's it. I don't break it down any farther than that because that would get confuzzling. So I'm going to decouple the old part, this one, from these motors, and then I can stick all this together. So for now, I'm just gonna stick these over here. And I have a pile of the old revision 2 parts off camera, which is where these ones are gonna go. This says revision 3 on it, because I think technically this is the same as this part right here. Actually, it's not. This is a 2. It's mislabeled. So I think the major difference between this part and the previous one, I believe it's mostly to do with the mounting points. Yep. So there are these 2 holes at the bottom right here. That is to attach the servo mounting plate to the leg, which there are 2 mating holes right there. And those are put into place because that is something that the previous revision doesn't have. They were originally here, these structural holes, but I had to get rid of them. Oh wait, so this is a 2. This is a 2. That might be a 4, actually. So maybe this was a 3. 2. Maybe that's a revision 4. I'll leave it. It's like a 2.1 or 2.2. I'll leave it. It'll be okay. I get confused with my own revisions. This is the revision 1, the first rev of this part. I don't know where the other half of this is. I don't think I ever made one. This is a 2. Yes. So the bummer part of this is even if I get, like if this is it, like the thing that I'm assembling right now, even if this ends up being the one that I end up going with for now, I still have to print 3 more complete sets of all these parts and then take these old assemblies apart, because this is what's currently installed in all of Noodle's legs right now. This is version 1 of the leg design. So this is V2, this is V1. I have to take this out and then pull the motors from them and reassemble 3 more of these, which is not really the end of the world, it's just going to take time. And then I need to figure out how to talk to these motors because I don't actually know, only Mark knows. Mark is the only one who knows how to speak to the motors because he is the wizard. But yeah, the good thing about this is that when I do get all of the legs into a form where I can start doing the code stuff again, I can change up the format of my streams so that the camera isn't downward facing like it is right now. I can actually pan out to the full room like I was doing back in January this year. Back when I first announced, like, this is walking year. This is the year that Noodle will finally at last walk. And I had the camera framing me and everyone over helping with the walking programming endeavor. And it was exciting because it was kind of like Noodle Olympics. He was sort of on the table, hooked up to his guide wire. And everyone was cheering him on, and he was taking his first wobbly beep boop baby steps and falling over and looking all adorable like. It was a lot more exciting. Like this is tedious and not, I don't know, I think this part's kind of boring. Like the problem solving and everything's fun with the mechanical design, but I'm over it by this point for sure. And Mark's currently working on the back room. One of the realities of this house that we live in is that it's been under renovation pretty much the entire time that I've lived here, which has been 5 years now. The master bedroom has never been completed. It's been in a state of empty shellness forever, and finally we got around to painting the walls, and today we're actually picking out the floor for the floor. We're using, I think, bamboo, a shade of bamboo flooring panels. We just have to pick out the shade of the bamboo. That's what I have to say about that. walls are painted, but I'm not entirely sold on the color of the walls. Like, I picked out the colors, but now that I'm seeing the way the light plays on them, I'm kind of not liking one of the colors as much. So I might talk to Mark about potentially redoing the one accent wall. It's this, like, incredibly bright... Here, I can show you. It is that bright. It is this color. It is bright-ass tomato red, which I'm fond of for an accent wall, but it's actually a little bit too offensive. Because a lot of this color reflects on the neutral wall shade, hue, whatever that we picked out. I don't know where that color is, but it's more of like a cream. The cream just sort of eats this color up and becomes this color. So it's like the entire room is like tomato, which I don't know, like for 2 minutes I'm okay standing in a room like that. I don't know if I want it to be the bedroom color. The opposite accent wall is this like electric blue, which I'm kind of fond of. Periwinkle. Matt hates them. My best friend hates the room. I might play around with it. If I can, like, see what the mood lighting that we install looks like once we have that on, I might feel differently about it, but for the time being, with the natural light, it's definitely kind of overpowering. But it's painted. I'm thinking a dark color floor will look nice, or help maybe deaden the amount of light that's bouncing off that red wall, but I have no idea at this point. In any case, it's going to be nice to move out of the guest bedroom, finally. We've been living in one of the guest bedrooms forever, and then the second guest bedroom is full of robots. That's where we keep all the deltas. Hi, Mark. Welcome back. Okay, Noodle's leg is about to get pushed in. I think this is actually 2.2. Two to the second. Let's put that. That's good enough. Alrighty. So this is Rev 3, the official Rev 3. Oh, I didn't do that. Will that be a problem? Oh no. No, it won't. Okay. Cool. It's almost like I knew what I was doing. Noodle says, "Trust your instincts, mommy." Noodle's just waiting to get his leg back. He's like behind me right now without this leg. And he looks kind of sad because it's one of his front legs, so he's just kind of leaning really far to one direction, and I think he's being propped up right now by Fisty. How's Mark?
What?
How are you?
Good.
Yeah? Are you a happy pizza?
Yeah.
Yay. Fisty pizza. I have this Jetson module that we still haven't looked at yet. I think I ordered that the first week I got back from ours, and I still haven't even opened it and looked at it, and...
You should do that's opening the Jetson.
I'll do that tomorrow. Unboxing the Jetson module. I'll be Noodle's brain when Noodle is in Australia. Doing Australia stuff, like a cool Australia robot. Noodle feet. all the pieces. Shape Daddy.
Does have a shape.
He helped me with shapes, and then I gave him a quick perspective lesson on how to draw cylinders again. So it was an exchange.
Cylinders?
Yes. Like perspective on cylinders, it's right here.
Not shading?
I recommended he not try to shade yet.
Oh, okay.
Because when we were learning how to draw, like in the very, very beginning, it was a matter of, you use line thickness to denote depth first before you do shading, and he's not past that yet. From like, I gave him the instruction to use varying line thickness, or pressing down harder or lighter to create the illusion of depth, which is the first rite of passage, is the mastery of the line pressure drawing. My mentor got me this really cool book. I need to take a picture of it like after I'm done with the stream and send it to him and thank him. We went out for coffee last week before I went to Michigan, and at some point during the conversation I was talking about R's and like the philosophical backbone of the festival and everything, and he whipped out his phone and he started like typing something in, and then he kind of slid it across the table and he goes, "Type in your address." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Type in your address." And I looked, and at the top of the browser said Amazon.com. And I didn't check to see what it was, so it was kind of a surprise when it got here. He wouldn't tell me, but he's like, "Oh, he got me a book." Typed in my address, this book arrived while we were in Michigan. It was waiting for me when I got back. It's a comic book that teaches you about philosophy. So it's the basics of all of the notable philosophers, but they're explained, like their philosophy is explained using comic style. Reads like a comic book. Oops, didn't mean to smack the camera. It's called Action Philosophy, I think. Here, I'll even show you the front cover of it. There we go. So he got me this book, and it looks amazing. Like, it's all comics, and it explains all the philosophy of the different philosophers throughout time, from like the beginning all the way through, like, I think I saw Ayn Rand like towards the end. I'm super excited to read this because I feel like the majority of my professional life is philosophical, like blah 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 blah, but I don't actually have as formal of a philosophical philosophy background as my mentor. My mentor is he's an art professor, but his background is specifically in philosophy, and then he has quite a bit of experience, like I think professionally, with contemporary art or the contemporary art world. He's a sculpture professor, particularly, but he's always been the philosophy guy, and I think that rubbed off on me quite a bit. I always hated contemporary art, but then here I am. Oh, here I am. But yeah, that made me really happy. I got back and I hugged the book and squeed very loudly for probably a good 10 minutes. But I gotta start reading that tonight. I'm thinking I'm gonna curl up in bed with a big cup of, like, lemon tea if I make it to the tea store today. And then I'm gonna read my philosopher book, Doot and Scoot. Doot. Noodle. It doesn't clear on that side. Interesting. Okay, so that's a thing that needs to get modified. Yuck. good thing to take a note of for the next revision. Nun, 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 nun. There. I'm already cutting into my parts with nippers. Final revision, not quite. Na 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 na. Yeah, I was up all night listening to K-pop and doing CAD. That seems to be what my life is comprised of since I got back from Europe this year, is just listening to the most upbeat K-pop and doing CAD work. I don't know why it makes it better. Not that I don't like doing CAD, it just, my brain starts to kind of get antsy with it. I need the music. Like, I'm not really a listen to music and do stuff kind of person, amazingly. Like, that's blasphemy to a lot of people. The one exception is probably doing CAD. I like music while I'm doing CAD. Fast music. Music that fills me with energy and makes me feel like I'm going into battle, I guess. So I'm kind of like admitting that I'm the type of person who would go into battle listening to K-pop. Would you, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think I'd probably throw on some of the Sailor Moon theme song.
Go into battle?
Yep.
Mark says he would listen to Sailor Moon music.
For Love and Justice.
For Love and Justice. That's Japanese.
I'm gonna rewatch that shit.
J-pop.
Yep.
I was listening to Caro Caro Bonito while I was in Tokyo last year. Yeah. And Sophie Tucker, which is not J-pop. They're from Brazil, I believe, but it was a good soundtrack for walking around Tokyo. I think their album back then was called Soft Animals, and it was great. It's a very eclectic music. It has like a very bohemian-esque vibe to it. I super enjoyed that walking around like Shinjuku.
Alright.
Oh no, where are you going? No. 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 No haircut. No.
It's time.
No. Please no. I'm not gonna know who you are. Like, you're gonna...
Here's the smell.
No. No. Oh, I need somebody to play Portal with. I don't know what it is about fall, but one of the games I always get an itch to play once it starts getting cold outside is Portal, like the original Portal. If you haven't played the original Portal, you need to do that. It's very good. Don't spoil it for yourself. I think the first time I played it, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and it was one of the most enjoyable experiences, gaming-wise, ever. I need to play Baba Is You. That's on my list still. Do. Baba Is You. And then whatever else Matt tells me I need to do. So I need to go to the tea store today. We have an actual tea monger over by our craft store, and then I need to go hunting for balls. For Noodle's feet, stress balls or something. You think that we'd have some of those laying around in our menagerie of literally everything else in the entire world that we have in this house, but I don't think we actually have foam stress balls anywhere. I mean, maybe 10 years ago, all you had to do was go to literally any convention and you could fix that, but times have changed. I know my dad's probably got a bunch of them in his office. It'd be nice to find white ones, just so they match, so if anyone ever catches a glimpse of his feet without socks on, they're not just like, what the hell? What the hell kind of clown shit is this? Although that might add to the Noodle-y charm, is if you take off his socks and realize that he has, like, goofy ball feet toes. Circus toes. Oh, I see what happened there. Oh. Okay. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. We shall see, I guess. I really don't like the hubs of these. I do not like a lot of things about these motors, honestly. This is the first time I've used a motor that doesn't have the standard servo footprint. I've done stuff with normal servo motors for like a half a decade, and I'm very much accustomed to just leveraging that particular footprint. This is strange. Like the mounting of these motors is weird. I'm not liking the way that you attach things to the hub, really, because it kind of implies that the rotation is transferred to the other side the way that they're set up, but it actually does not. It only is driven on one side, and they're pretty beefy too. They're slightly larger than servos, so offsetting them kind of looks bad and is asymmetrical. What I really want is a motor where the hub is like symmetrically oriented on the body of the motor itself. Like, why don't they make them that way? Like, this is a legitimate curiosity of mine. I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with the gearbox and everything, but damn it. Grape. Anyhow. I might disassemble this one anyway. So Mark's not going to be here for me to test this thing. So I probably won't be able to power this up during the stream, because I'm definitely going to need to recalibrate this leg once I get it assembled, which I need his help to do. I like I mentioned earlier, I do not know how to communicate or write code to these motors yet. They're different than standard servo motors, which is fine and everything. It just means that it's above and beyond my know-how for now. Ah! No. No. What are you getting at the store?
Eggs.
Yeah.
Bagels.
Yeah.
Cream.
Yeah. Pineapple.
You need pineapple?
Yeah.
Alright, pineapple.
And pineapple pen?
Onion powder.
Onion power. That's Matt. Get feta. Get a big thing of feta.
Feta?
Yes. Feta. Yes. Hi. Hi. I don't know. Something healthier. Another box of wine, maybe. Merlatka. I think that's it. I mean, that's all I would request. Just saying. Matka. Moja Złatka. Kohana. Ich weiß nicht. We have no food in the house. We're like out of everything right now, which is bad. Usually I at least have tortillas, hot sauce, and eggs, so I can make egg burritos in the morning to fuel myself. We have like nada, zip, nothing at the moment. Which is in part because we just left town and you try to eat all your groceries before you take off someplace, but yesterday I ate the very last of the eggs. There's no more egg. Tamago. Tamago. Something changed about that and I don't know what or why. Ah! Sugoi. It's just me, I'm alone. Wah. I like being alone. The truth. I enjoy it. It is good. Okay. Alright, so I need a top capture for this thing, but this basically slides on this rail. Or is supposed to slide on this rail. The only problem is that it's not actually, like, captured on the top. It is on the bottom. I don't know if that's gonna necessarily make a huge difference, though. It ought to. This thing goes right there. Sugoi. Alright. So these have to go on with the 26mm hardware. The 30 is too big, and I don't have any anyway, as I discovered yesterday. Over an agonizingly long amount of time, digging through my hardware kit. Actually, 26s might actually be too large too. Such as it is. But that's gonna have to be what it is. Do I have 24s? I believe I do. I just bought those before I left because that's a super popular size for me. There we go. Alright, hopefully this gives me what I need. Because if not, I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's right, these might not be the correct size anymore. That was what I also learned yesterday. We shall see. These spacers might need to be switched out or reprinted. Oh, I think they are. Yes. Yes, they are. Okay. Maybe these ones are applicable. These thinner ones. Let's try it. You know what? I'm gonna give it a go. If they don't work, then I'll have to print some spacers real quick, but whatever. That is totally not the end of the world. Wow, 24s might actually be too big. Damn. I've got 22s. We should try those. Alright, I'm gonna grab some 22s. I'll be right back. Bam, 22s. What's Sarah doing? Working on our kid, man. Oh mio mio. Okay. '22s work. Damn. My oh my, how things change. Huh. I did assemble this assembly in full in CAD last night while I was listening to my K-pop. And everything does fit and look alright. I'm gonna have to probably cross-reference this assembly, the actual physical assembly, with the thing that I have in CAD, just to make sure that it's everything it ought to be. That they match one another, because it would be really weird if they didn't, and I'd have to figure out why. But everything should be alright. Should be alright. Oh no. Come back. But yeah, it was nice. Shape Daddy came over yesterday, and Mark brought home Chipotle, so I scarfed down a burrito unceremoniously. Ah, shit. That's what I forgot. I didn't put the fence on. The fence is important. No. Okay, so I might need 24s. Okay, I was gonna say 22s, like, that's cray cray. Alright. But we'll see. Maybe 22 is still enough. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like there's room. Wow. Okay. Still fits. Very impressed by that. Take it. I will not complain. They were doing construction in the yard next door this morning when I got up, so I wasn't sure if I was going to stream because there was all of the beeping from all the construction equipment. I think that in the future, when Noodle is able, I'm going to put him in the yard to stare at the construction and beep back at the machines every time they're doing something. He can just sort of go out there and be like the judging construction referee. I think that's a good thing for Noodle to do once he's able. I still need to work on the function where he can hear different beeping, like different types of beeping or tones, and then repeat those patterns of beeps back. So like if he hypothetically heard like a microwave go off, that's not where that goes. He could beep the same like pattern of beeping back to the microwave. Did I say microphone? I'm sorry. Microwave? Or a washing machine or a stove or something. I don't know. I think it would be good if he could kind of mimic the sounds of other appliances. But this is probably just the part of me that grew up with a parrot and is kind of... I don't know. Like my parrot rubbed off on me. I like repeating things back, especially sounds. I think the thing with me and my bird is that the words weren't really important, it was how you said them. Because he didn't know what the hell he was saying, of course, he's a parrot, but you definitely knew what he meant by how he said those words. And one of those words was pizza, one of them was chicken. And that's probably why I say those words all the time for absolutely no reason as well. They're like explanation marks rather than words that are meant to convey any specific meaning. Dedicated meaning, we'll say that. Dedicated meaning words. She's crazy. Come on. Why are you not going through your hole? Oh, fuck. Ah! Too much, too much, too much, too much. Alright. It's coming together. All is good. Almost there. Not that I can test any of this without Mark around. I guess I could hypothetically just do an update like I used to, where I just, for like 2 or 3 minutes, show the progress that I've made. I used to do that all the time, and now I just kind of don't. Oh god. Come on. There we go. Oh my. That is definitely tight, but that is good. Okay, so that's the fence. This can still rock up and down though out of it, because there's nothing capturing the rail on top yet. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to implement that. We shall see. It's something I'm gonna have to meditate on tonight if all of this other stuff works. It's kind of like extra credit problem at this point. And I shouldn't really put this on yet. I'm not, because this needs to be calibrated. Alright. But yes, I can assemble the rest of this. Alright, the foot goes back on. Probably after the femur. Slurgery. I'm trying to think of any other story I could possibly tell. I don't know. Not really a lot to say. My trip went well. I feel good. I've had a really great fall so far. I have like more energy to solve this problem kind of out of nowhere, which is good. I feel particularly motivated. I think it's probably a good thing that I don't have a million things to do this year. And I was talking about this yesterday. Last year was a incredibly busy keep bumping this. Oh, I made it worse. Worse yet. Oh my. Fair enough. I'm just sort of guessing what size hardware I need at this point. That's too small. What did I use for this? Probably this one. That's better. Okay, I'm almost there. I swear. Stories. What stories could I tell from my life that aren't super depressing? Oh, why is that different? Why are these dimensions suddenly different? What the hell? It's really concerning me. I noticed this last time. Okay, so I'm gonna math this out because something's changed and I don't know why. How? These things, these spacers are 15.2. It should be 13.2. So are there 13.2 millimeter spacers floating around on this table that got tucked away in some space that I don't know about? Because I'm pretty sure that's what's supposed to go there. Are these? Are these 13 and a halves? Those are 16s. Those are even worse. Hooray for being utterly disorganized. These are way bigger. 21. Okay, so I think the space between here is, it's supposed to be 40. Yes, 40. Okay, so 40 minus 13, roughly 13. 40 minus 13 is 27. 27 divided by 2 is, so 26 divided by 2 is 13.5. So yes, 13.5. So these are supposed to be 13.5. I would probably make them 13.2. So that is what these are supposed to be. And there are some that I've made that are that size. I do not know where they are, but these are not them. Are they these? No. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and look for them on the table, because I know I printed them. I remember making them. Alright, so you go here. Oh man. If this gets a little loud, I apologize ahead of time. What size are you guys? Oh, 13.2. Okay. I don't know if these are the ones I printed, but these are 13.2s. So that is a known constant in this design. So I'll use those. Whatever, it works. Noodle, you get nice little red spacers. That's much, much, much better. Okay. I'm pleased with this. Yeah, when I assembled it yesterday and tested it, I had these two brackets were like bent outwards, and I knew that they were, but I didn't do anything about it yet. So this is, the parts are happier for sure. Go. Thread. Okay. Okay. That's much better. And then I've got this guy, and I think I'm good if after that. Alright, I gotta tighten everything, and then this is ready to test whenever Mark gets back from the butt store. The Smith's. You know. The ye old butt store. Noodle Day celebration. Noodle tea feet. Crazy motherfucker. Alright, we're almost there. Almost there, guys. I think that's it. I mean, this thing's still in question, I mentioned. I'm gonna test it without first, and then add it and see if it can also run with the spring. That's going to be the huge stipulation. I'm pretty confident it's gonna be okay, though. It's already done. Alright. that's that. This leg it's assembled. So this might be it. So this is old V1, which I should probably write that on here. I'll probably do it eventually. But yeah, this is V1, this is V2, and this took 3 revisions to get down. This one took multiple revisions too. I don't think I have any of those parts on hand, but over the summer it was just this for me to get to a point where it wasn't working. And I think my bane with this whole assembly was depending on the simulation in CAD as a reference and not actually building it and physically looking at it. This actually works in CAD, so I thought that I was on the right track the whole time, and then once I printed it, it did not, and I had to figure out why. So I feel like I probably spun my wheels unnecessarily over the summer just in the name of this part, but whatever, it was a learning experience. So this is, it's gonna go away now, and this, it looks like, is going to function. And this is quite a lot like the original leg design with the vertical tendon triangle geometry, whatever. This kicking part is the new thing. It's the new shit. Makes Noodle's knees a little bit more thick, but that's okay. Having thick knees is endearing, Noodle. Mommy has thick knees. Just thick Polish knees. It's okay. More miscellaneous hardware to account for. Yay. Scoot that to the side. This is the original leg. And all of its original leg glory. Oh man. Oh, where am I? Here I am. So that's ready to go and test soon. I don't know how long Mark is going to be. It's what, 12:20 here in Las Vegas. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure what else I have to do in the meantime that would be interesting or worth showing. I'll catch up on the chat. We can talk. All of us. Think how to speak to the motors. This is straight up therapy. Wait, what? What the hell? Aw. I recently ran across Ladybeard, which is like death metal plus K-pop. I love Ladybeard. I'm a big fan of him. Show for kids. Miraculous Ladybeard or something. Can't we 3D print groceries? I agree. I wish we could 3D print groceries. Maybe not. I think like the artificial meat is kind of a crazy idea. Fake meat. Grown, lab-grown meat. Guys, it's the future. That's what they do in Star Trek. Replicators. This is true. Hey Sarah, could you do me a favor and check your Twitter DMs a sec? Okay. I will do that as soon as I... 1 second. Hey Sarah, 2 days in a row. Yes! Hi Vi! How are you doing? Are you doing good? I hope you're doing good. We should all be doing good. I hope everyone is happy at this point in time. Because it's about to get snowy and cold. It's only gonna get worse from here. Fuck. Building bionics and sometimes needing to use different colored pieces because I lost the original colored ones. Yes. I think his old legs were metal. Like one of the things I did a couple years ago, 3 years ago, it was before, I don't know. It's like right after I went to ours for the first year, I came back and I rebuilt all of Noodle's legs in metal to get rid of all the wobble that was currently in that version of the design. And the version of him that's in Europe right now, toying around from country to country like a little rock star, is mostly metal, and it's pretty solid. Like he doesn't have a lot of play or wobble in his legs at all. But again, that design wasn't going to be capable of walking the way that I want him to, so it's moot. Heavy requires a pump. Yeah, pneumatic would make it a bit too heavy. Oh, Vi, are you drinking coffee? Do you have your Kohi or like an energy drink or something? Not that energy drinks are good. Don't drink those. Those are bad. But coffee is good. My stomach's like starting to eat itself though, and we have no food, which kind of sucks. But I have beers. Oh, but you have beers. Oh god, if I had a beer right now, I would most certainly crawl straight back into bed, which might not, in fact, prevent me from doing so later, but it's only noon right now. It's definitely too early for a beer. Chat on their Twitch was super cool. Alright, I'll check my DMs real quick, as requested. So, hold on just a sec. Actually tired. Uh-oh. I don't know what that is. Is it bad? Oh man, okay. Ah. Ugh. Okay. My stomach is eating itself. What should I do? I'm trying to think of anything that I can put in my mouth right now that we have that's readily available in the kitchen, but nothing is coming to mind, which is not good. Oh, okay. Was that? Ah, gotcha. Okay. Ah. What day is it? Oh yeah, Tuesday. Okay. What else could I do? Man, alright, the leg is built. I don't think there's any more CAD that I need to address at this current point in time. The parts that I have to remake in metal, if this whole design actually does work, I'm not entirely sure yet. I think the bone, the fibula bone, the one that does that weird curve thing underneath the, I guess his heel, that is probably going to absolutely need to be cut out of aluminum sheet. So that's that's going to be a tricky thing to make because I don't really have access to a water jet. We do know of a place where I can have metal cut, probably 1/8 inch aluminum, but it's gonna put me back like $80 or so. So I need to make sure that I'm like absolutely ready that the design that I want is what I want before I go ahead and do that. Oh man, new page of Gravity Road. I could do that. I mean, part of me doing the Inktober thing was to get back in the habit of drawing, or not even just the habit, but just to get up to speed with my drawing skills again. Because as you know, when you don't use an ability, it atrophies over time, and it's sometimes easy to kind of work back up to where you were, but it still takes a period of frustration, and I was trying to kind of overcome that before I started on the comic. I think part of my my new routine is going to be in the morning when I get up, I'm going to do my Japanese lesson for like an hour, which is kind of what I've been doing for the past month now. And then until about noon or so, I'm going to draw. And after October, after I get through this getting back up to speed with my drawing skills period, I'm going to dive back into doing Gravity Road like once November starts. So I could just draw. Like I have a document that's just that's not it. It's over there. Okay. I have a document. There we go. That's the last thing I did. I tuck these away. So this was the last one I did. This was... I'll just call it Coffee-tober. Kohi al Kudasai. And then I had Floss-tober. Corn-tober. There's Matt. The Majestic Matt. Sauce-tober. And then the thing that I started working on... There we go. That was the next one. I was gonna draw Mark hunting scorpions, which he does periodically because he's terrified of them. I could finish this one and post it. The one that I wanted to do in relation to the trip that I just got back from Michigan is I wanted to do like a comparison of how my life, or how life there feels to me relative to how it is here in Vegas, and I wanted to draw like a compare and contrast side by side of like me at Yates Cider Mill sitting on a bench in the tranquil autumn leaf forest biome that I was in, and then on the other side of the illustration have like me in like the Mad Maxian desert in like a giant Noodle mech tank with war paint on my face stomping through the desert with like scorpions behind me, because that's how my life feels here. So I was like flying back home and I'm like, yeah, I'm going back to my apocalyptic like trash backyard dusty lab house where I'm like a mixture of J.F. Sebastian and I don't know, some other character, fill in the blank, making robot parts with boxes and shit everywhere and lights. So I was gonna draw that. That was the thing that I wanted to do. I did a bunch of doodles while I was away on like napkins and stuff, so I might still go back and like post those on my thread. Wait. Okay, I did switch down to that. Appease the duo. Yes. I went to go eat something quickly and came back to this whole different thing. What's going on? Okay. No. Kia, why would you eat a scorpion? I think I have like this weird affection for scorpions because Mark keeps killing them, and I feel bad. Like I don't like killing anything. I'm weird like that. Like nothing. Like there was an ant, like one of those big ass carpenter ants, on my knee in the car when we were driving around the suburbs of Detroit this weekend, and I just kind of hung out with him the whole time. And he like eventually got back up on the armrest, and then he went up the console to the dash and was just sort of crawling around all over the place. And then when I opened the door, he like literally fell off of the thing he was on the dash and left and walked away. So it was like he literally hitched an Uber ride with us and then went back to some other part of the forest. And I'm really content with that idea in my mind. But point being, I don't kill stuff. Mark, on the other hand, the minute that there's anything alive in this house, spider, ants, like scorpions especially, and what have you, he's like the first person out with like a stick or a shoe or hairspray or anything, and he's hunting it down, murdering the shit out of it, especially scorpions. But he has this black light flashlight, and anytime he finds one and kills it, he goes stomping through the house with this like black light, and he's shining it everywhere very frantically, you know, with like super thick socks on and boots so that he doesn't get bitten. And I'm like, but he did wake up with one like on his hand in the bed in the middle of the night. So I mean, that would probably put a little bit of an irrational fear in a person, I suppose. In my heart, I believe that Noodle invites all of his scorpion friends over to have house parties when mommy and daddy are away, and sometimes they have a little bit too much powdered sugar and they pass out like in a corner somewhere, and then when they wake up they try to get out and they have to escape without Mark seeing them. So I don't know, I don't want any of Noodle's friends to get killed because that would traumatize my child. Because, yeah. Sarah, you have an overactive imagination. Let's draw this. Here's my tablet. Fleas and flies. Oh man. I don't know if I'd eat anything. I think like things that are prepared, I will eat. Like if I go to another country, I will eat any type of cuisine that is sort of accepted in that culture as being a cuisine. I won't just like take random animals and just like eat them. I guess that's where I draw the line. Like I won't just eat bugs or stuff, really, unless like that's legitimately part of that like meal or dish or something. If it's part of the recipe or part of the preparation of the thing, then that's one thing. But to just sort of like eat a bug on a stick or something, or a whatever like that is kind of outside my comfort zone, I'd kind of shy away from it. Other than that, I don't have any hang-ups. I typically won't eat octopus, but I did when I was in Tokyo this year. And I think my favorite thing that I had that I normally wouldn't try is takoyaki, which was my like favorite thing that I had. It was like from a street vendor kind of. It was at this stand-up, walk-up place where you just go and get like taco balls. And I had them. I burnt the shit out of my mouth eating them, which I guess is part of the experience. They were very hot when I got them because they're super fresh and they're delicious in spite of burning off half of my taste buds. Oh, Tony! There's a Tony, a wild Tony appeared. Tony helped me with, like, talk out my mechanical issues yesterday, so I'm thanking him in person in front of everybody. Thank you, Shape Daddy, for coming to the rescue. Here. I don't know how long you've been watching for, but I'm gonna grab the leg and show it to you real quick before I draw, because that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna draw me in Noodle Mech stomping through the desert with an army of scorpions. Okay, Shape Daddy. This is the thing. This is the thing that I designed last night before I went to bed while listening to copious amounts of K-pop. Man, you really can't see that. Here. So this thing, the rack is actually captured in there a bit better. It still doesn't have like a thing on the top to keep it in, so it's probably gonna lift in the back. So I'm gonna have to figure out a workaround for that eventually, but for the time being, I think I can test this one better. It's ready to go, but Mark isn't here. So as soon as he gets home, I can do a little bit of plug and play and assess whether this thing is strong enough to A, lift the toe, B, lift the toe when the heel spring is attached. So that's the plan. And other than that, how are you doing? How was your day? Your technical Monday. Technically your Monday, your first day of the week. Takoyaki is... yeah. Takoyaki. Yeah, Portuguese fried... friend, not fried. Portuguese friend told me this and I was interested. I said I will try anything that my mouth is. Ha. And Noodle does have dangerous house parties. For sure. I can add a slotted capture to the base where the gear rack is. A slotted capture to the base where the gear rack is will probably be your best bet for stability. I do not know what you mean by that. A slotted capture to the base where the gear rack is. I'm not sure which base you mean. I'd still consider this Tuesday makes it comes here. Yeah, that is true. True, Tony. I'm not entirely what you mean by the slotted capture in the base where the gear rack is. Like the... by base, do you mean the motor mount piece that it's kind of like slotted within? Yeah, show me. Next time I see you. Draw it. Are you drawing today? Are you drawing cylinders today? Speaking of stuff and things. Here. Boop. Let's go back to this drawing shenanigans. Oh, there's me. There's this. That's a butt. I don't know why I was drawing a butt. Okay. Yellow. Harmonious, calming yellow. The best color. Alright, kids. So, I think the thing I said I was gonna draw is like a giant noodle mech that I'm inside of. Probably too big. Would I be riding on top of the head or in the head? I don't know. It's a good question. I apparently haven't thought about this as much as I remember. Speaking of cylinders, Tony, you should draw a noodle. I guess. How would I do this? Would Noodle have cannons as eyes or lasers? Did I switch the view? Okay, I did. Why would I draw a butt? I don't know. Some people draw a lot of butts. Just saying. It's an important thing to know how to draw butts and other body parts well, in my book. Or at least, I had a friend at one point in my life where I think we went through a phase and all we did was draw naughty parts. I mean, we were young and perverted, I guess, but I think it was just something that we felt we ought to know how to do well. I always respect a good, I don't know, a well-drawn don't know. Any naked body part, honestly. Like, people who can draw any part of the human anatomy with like some level of expertise, particularly the things you don't see in common contexts. We'll just say like not safe for work stuff. Really respect people who can draw those bits particularly well, because it is not easy to do it well. I think Noodle Noodle is going to have big metal feet. Here's a question for Tony. If we made a Noodle mech, what would the feet be made out of? Would they just be giant, like, drums, kind of like rockets are? And to that extent, I mean, would they be like one solid piece, like a container that's welded on the bottom? So it's gonna turn into a noodle with like hoofs. Drawing with a tablet sucks. I mean, the kind that I'm using right now, because this is kind of nightmarish. Can I put it here? Is this any better? I guess that's a little better. I got this, it's actually a lot better. Okay. I got a, one of those, how would you call it? It's like a pedestal? A stand? It's a stand for my laptop, because, I have like the worst slouching habits on the face of the earth, and I know I needed to, in some way, try to fix that. And having a laptop that's on a low table does not facilitate in good posture. So I decided to get this, one of those, I don't know, it's just sort of like a stand or a pedestal that like lifts the laptop up quite a bit. I don't know if I have to angle this down a bit more, whatever. Noodle says, sometimes you just have to stomp through the desert like a giant robot tank. See, I wanted to be doing this on Mars one day, but it definitely appears like that's not going to happen in this life. For me. Noodle's still young. Might happen for him. I think the thing I was gonna do, and I mentioned this on Twitter, was streaming the Inktober, I guess. Here, let's draw like a little Sarah. I had talked about streaming Inktober, so anytime I sat down to do a drawing session like this, I would invite everybody to draw something along with me, and maybe we could all like collectively pick a theme. Like, I don't know, everyone draw something that they're afraid of, or draw something that is on their bucket list that they want to do in their lifetime. Stuff like that. And then at the end of the session, I would just make a big thread on Twitter, and everyone can post their work. That's not a fist. It's not a fist either. Where you draw fists? I don't even know. Fist. Would I be riding him like a horse? I don't even know. How'd I be doing this? Sarah butt chicken? No. Here, let's try that again. I'd be up here somewhere in like probably a tank top. Riding Noodle. And that's my giant ass. That's right. Here I can have like shorts on. Everyone's like, I don't know where this is going. This is actually kind of terrifying. What the fuck, Sarah? Alright, so I need like a noodle head. Let's finish Noodle's head. So Noodle would probably have like a big old war dome. These would be like windows. And maybe his head would be open. I guess the question is, if I were to turn Noodle into like a habitat or a habitable space, which is effectively what his mech would be, what would it look like? How would it be? So what I'm imagining, and I guess every time I imagine making that giant habitable noodle mech that I would storm through Burning Man in, it would be like one of the Jaegers from Pacific Rim. You know that movie. It's one of my favorites, kind of. It's like the favorite that I don't talk about. But I imagine it being like one of those like pilotable battle mechs that you fight kaiju in, like outside of Tokyo. So there'd just be like a giant noodle stomping through the actual ocean with like massive feet. And like totally not agile at all, so he'd have to literally like fight giant monsters with his eyes or something. I don't know how that would work. It doesn't matter. Maybe he can fly around with rocket feet. So he'd probably have to have like chunky gears. I don't draw wires yet. But he'd definitely have like some bits and bobs going on underneath the hood, because you can't just be like a gigantic massive noodle machine and not have a bunch of crazy support things enabling you to work. And I don't know what these are, but they're important. They're a requirement for a noodle of this size to stomp. His bones would be quite chunk. I don't know how this turned into drawing, but whatever. There's no better way to transition out of mechanical design than to just like make a Bloody Mary and then dive straight into drawing something. True story. Oh man. Yeah, put that on a different layer. Noodle wants to know. I think if he was a giant mech, or if Noodle had a giant mech, I'd have to come up with some way for Noodle to actually pilot it. Not to say that Noodle would be my drift partner or anything like that, but there would definitely have to be some sort of like tongue button apparatus that he could activate with his feet and then like lick the control panel in order to control its movement. Which I really like the idea of creating technology that services robots instead of humans. Noodle. What type of kaiju would you fight, Noodle? I think I have a kaiju. I don't know if this guy is a kaiju or not. I got one from my mentor who happens to be quite a big fan of wrestling. But this was from a toy store in Tokyo. Like, I had to kind of try to find actual toy stores. I mean, there's plenty of like adult toy stores, and by adult I don't mean like sex toys. I just mean like action figures and stuff. In like Akihabara, but I wanted to find like a toy store that an actual child would go to, because I don't know, I like looking at like toys that kids use, especially from different places. And that's where I found the cow, like that amazing cow Duber, the meat puzzle. Because I don't know if I would have found this if I went to like a big kid toy store, but like the kid toy store had these like really unique kind of things, trinkets, and that's like my favorite thing to go hunting for when I'm in different countries. And then I got this guy, the little like solar powered Mars rover. Also my favorite from my Tokyo trip. They have dust on them now, because yes, they do just sit on my desk and collect dust, but that's okay. I don't know what these would be. I'm guessing these would be like giant welded beams. Or they'd be like rebarb. I don't know, Tony, like if you were to make a giant noodle mech, like what logistically would his leg bones be made out of? I guess that's a legitimate question. I don't even know if he's still in the stream. I'm guessing maybe not. But I'll check the chat in a minute. If you... Or maybe this could be like your drawing challenge for for today? Like, if you made a noodle mech, like an actual mecha noodle, what would you use for all of the different bits and bobs? Maybe you can draw it too, and we can compare. Maybe everyone can draw. Draw the mech that you would pilot if you were in the movie Pacific Rim. I think that's the thing that I'm interested in seeing now. I think ever since I saw that movie, I don't remember when it came out or why I saw it for the first time. Oh yeah, I do. I do actually. It was here at Mark's house. It's before we were dating, actually. I think it was on New Year's Eve. I saw it, and I was super sick, and I remember it very well. Interesting. But that Charlie guy, Charlie Kelly, I don't know what his last name is, but he's the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, whom I love because he reminds me of my best friend Matt. He's in it, and he's kind of part of the reason why I adore the movie as much as I do. He's like a fanboy of kaiju, which I think is awesome. Because it seems like it would be kind of a distasteful thing in that universe to be, but nonetheless, there you have it. Kaiju fanboy. Which is kind of what Keith is, I guess. My mentor is a all things wrestling fan, and I guess giant robots fighting sea monsters in the ocean counts as a form of wrestling in his book, which, I mean, it does. Giant wrestling sea monsters. Ye old giant wrestling sea monster. That's what they call my mom. Drawing straight lines on this tablet, by the way, is incredibly hard. It's like one of the hardest things I've had to adapt to do in my life is just drawing lines that don't suck on my Wacom in 204. Because this thing is super old. Just like me. Alright. This wasn't supposed to be a kaiju drawing. This was supposed to be like me in the Vegas desert stomping around in a noodle. Speaking of poorly drawn cylinders, not perspective. There. But I wish we had more of that cider. Like, I'm not gonna have cider like that for I don't know how long. It's definitely a treat. The Yates cider, I don't know, there's like some fruitiness to it that no other cider in the world has. It's like this umami almost. And now that I've had it, that's all I can think about is just getting more of that fruit taste. That delicious fruit taste. Fruit. My relatives didn't know what Goose Game was, so I was telling everyone in Michigan about Goose Game and demanding that they play it, which was funny. You have to play Goose Game. I come bearing the word of Goose Game. Let Goose Game into your life. Should these be like I-beams? I don't even know. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. Noodle. Where was me? Oh, there I am. Oh my. Oh yeah, that just needs to be rescaled. Yeah! Woo! Drawing is an important skill to have, y'all. Oh man. Kaiju fighting noodle feet. I can't draw straight lines. That's better-ish. Meh. I do use a lot of layers when I draw because I'm very indecisive about the placement of things. Probably not the best quality to have. I should probably work to like not be that way. But I don't know. I had this friend named Alex when I was growing up. We went to college and he went to the same high school as me, which was a art high school. But we took art classes together in college, and he used to draw everything in ink pen or Sharpie. So you had to really commit to every line that you made because you couldn't erase it. And as a result, he was able to draw things well with the first line made. And it wasn't always perfect, but he was a lot more I don't know, cool, fast and confident and good at drawing as a result of kind of forcing himself into that practice. And it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I'm kind of a chicken shit and I won't. I know I'm not. Especially ever since I started using a tablet. Tablet's kind of the not very good for developing good drawing habits, for sure. Because you can slop things, you can fake things, you can fix things too easily. There's no need to draw anything well the first time, because you can always just sort of uproot it and place it someplace else, like I've been doing. Select it, move it. You can't do that with Sharpie or even a pencil for that matter. So this is sort of enabling me to be one of the laziest art beasts ever. And I maintain that in spite of spending a significant amount of my life learning how to draw, I've never really been very good at it. But I like doing it, and I won't ever stop. It's sort of a regular part of my routine. More bad gears, guys! Not that Noodle would have gears like that, though. Right there, in that position, but... meh. This is fantasy. It's all a lie. Maybe he doesn't have a gear there. No, fuck it. He has a gear there. That's exactly where it belongs. I'm kind of excited. I don't know if I'm gonna have any of this done by SuperCon, and I guess it totally doesn't matter. I think I might just go this year and be a human and not really worry about what I'm bringing and what I'm showing off. I don't have to have an agenda. I don't have to be exhibiting. No. I'm hungry. You can tell I'm running out of energy because I'm getting quieter. And I don't want to just go and like scavenge a giant bowl of blue cheese with buffalo sauce on top of it, which is something I've definitely done in the past month. Because it makes me feel like a monster. Where are the legs? Okay. I'm gonna check the chat because it occurs to me it's been a minute since I've done that. That's over here. Hey guys. Noodle has dangerous house parties. Yes. Okay. Not a whole lot of talking has transpired, so I don't have to catch up. Oh, wait. Never mind, it just updated. Shit. Okay. Ah. I'm not in the videos because I'm technically... Oh, gotcha. On the scale. Don't forget the tiny people running in terror. I said, why wouldn't butts? Both great. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Sorry, Kia. Nothing like a well-drawn dong to make you say, well, that's a well-drawn dong. I agree. I think we both had, like, dong sketchbooks back when we were in college, me and my friend. I know he did. I think I just sort of dabbled in the dong drawing. He was, like, fully committed to it. It depends on the skill. Tony, why are you never in the videos? Aw. Tony, why are you never in the videos? He's usually during the day at work, if it's a weekday. You would probably be better off with a solid beam for the leg and the foot be a thin shell much later. I'm not in the videos because I'm technically at work. Yeah. Wait, is there any compilation of all the Noodle says phrases? Noodle says? I need to start... I think if I went through every single post-it note that I have on my desk, I could probably compile a book of just like Noodleisms. It's like on my bucket list. I'm considering doing a Kickstarter in the near future here. That's meant to get me a little bit more funding for Noodle's development, but I think my deliverable is probably going to be like a Noodle comic book that has like the adventures, life and times of Noodle Feet, the robot, and it would include just all of the vignettes of things that I talk about him doing and all of the Noodleisms and all of his dreams and all the things he wants to do. That's kind of something that is on my mind. I just have to kind of coordinate it and figure out like how much that would actually cost to produce and how much money I'd want to make as a, I don't know, as a goal for the Kickstarter. But then I'd be on the hook for another Kickstarter again, which is something I'm like very hesitant to do ever since my first Kickstarter, because that was a lot of work. Has that picture complete with the fireplace? That's right. Have you seen the sequel to... I have not seen the sequel to Pacific Rim, Tony. That's on my list. It's all fun and games till you accidentally squish a burner. Ha! Giant mech size, you would probably be looking at hydraulics. Yes, totally hydraulics. Are those commercially available right now? Wouldn't need any AI, just put Idris Elba in it. I don't know who that is. I'd love to see Noodle versus Mothra. Yes! Honk. Ha! Noodle wants to know how he's going to get into that thing. Mommy's going to pick him up and take him in there with her. And it's okay. She can carry him, so she has to technically give him permission to pilot it because she has to actually put him in it. And I don't know how I'm going to get into it. That's the next question. How does Mommy get into the mech? Mommy does not know. My climbing abilities aren't very good. Has to spin the eyes. Dabbled in dong is how I would describe my friend sexually. Yes. Dabble in dong. Yes. Dong. Alright, back to drawing. But yeah, Noodle's eyes have to spin. So it would probably have to sit on top of a planetary gear of some sort. Or some sort of gantry that was capable of rotation. The eyes, just the eyes though. So maybe just the shell would rotate, not the whole like housing in the middle of the head. And this is probably a scaled down version of like the mech me and Tony talk about making. Because whenever him and I like pipe dream about making the mech, it's something that we could actually feasibly live inside of and then just kind of roam around the desert in, which would be really, 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 really big and heavy. But I'm thinking a head that's probably the size of our lab in diameter. So like, I don't know, what is this, like 20 by 20 feet? 30 by 30 feet? I think it's a 20 by 20. Like a 2-car garage, I guess, is like a comfortable living space, I would say. Not that it's comfortable in here, but I think like if we were to actually make the Noodle mech, which we've done in Minecraft, but that's easy mode, right? Idris Elba is a great actor. He was the dude in Pacific Rim. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I don't. The only actor who I know by name, kind of, is the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Charlie. I think Charlie should pilot a Jaeger. I think they're called Jaegers, right? You should recruit him to pilot Mech Noodle with me. Noodle says no. That's his job. Mommy, you're taking my job. Nope. There. Noodle. Okay, let's lift this head do. Noodle, noodle, noodle. Oh man, I put that on the wrong layer. Alright. This is gonna be on a gantry. About E high. Noodle, you're turning into a house. Oh, what is that? Noodle says he always wanted to be a house. Just didn't know it. But yeah, I gotta see the second Pacific Rim for sure. For show. Oh man, if I could eat anything right now, I don't even know what it would be. No, I was just talking to somebody about quiche on Twitter, and now that sounds incredibly delicious because it's on my mind. Not just any quiche though, French quiche. Like the kind that you actually get in Paris is kind of precisely what I want right now. That didn't look the way I want. Meh. Oh well. I'm trying to make these look like gear teeth from the side, but I don't know how I would pull that off. Oh well. Oh, I hear a car maybe. This is good, because if Mark's home, then I can nag him to, test my leg out. But yeah, is the second Pacific Rim any good? really heard anything about it. Although I guess I never would have heard anything about the first one necessarily. Gravity Road. Yeah, I need to pick up on Gravity Road. My characters are stuck on the mountain. Alright, that's enough of that. Copious amounts of K-pop forever. My neighbors probably hate me. Oh gosh. Yeah, I need to eat. My body's just like, stop with this doing thing that you're doing. Please. Go lay down. Which I'm not. That'd be a bad idea. Bad idea right now. There's a raptor riding a noodle. Meh. I'll probably end up redrawing this crazy little like me later, so I'm just gonna leave that for now. I'm just like riding my son's head. Well, I guess like my son's car head, I guess. His like mode of transportation's head. Whatever. It's normal, right? I guess. Nah. Whatever. I'm gonna start coloring this. Oh. Back feet. Doot and scoot. Oh, that's huge. And that's dark. I don't know. I was kind of hoping to test this leg because if it does end up working, and I can like truly verify that the leg I just assembled does in fact work and will work the way that I want it to, then I need to print more of them, and that's going to take time. Which is something that I wanted to get on top of sooner rather than later. Noodle's big stomping feet. These feet were made for stomping, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days the feets are gonna stomp all over you. Them stomping feets. Uh-oh. That's the body. Okay. Noodle says he wants to have camo feet. Huh? Probably zoom in while I do this. I have this terrible habit of when I like stream drawing, I just won't ever zoom in on the thing that I'm making because I'm concerned about the perspective of the people watching. Because I don't know, like if I'm doing like say a speed drawing, I'm naturally concerned with zooming in and out a whole lot because that doesn't translate as well in a speed video. So I try not to, but it always ends up making it really difficult to produce whatever it is I'm making. So I just sort of make my own life a living hell, which is kind of par for the course for me, I guess. The hell life. I don't know. Like, if you could, hypothetically, I guess here's something to talk about. Not that it's very uplifting, but if, like, the apocalypse happened or something, or, like, society collapsed, which is something I guess we've all, like, thought about or fantasized about at some point or another, and you had to, like, survive, what would you live in? Like, what would be your method of survival and the dwelling space that you'd choose? Like, would you be more of a stay put or would you be a nomad? Like, what would end up being your battle strategy for survival? Like, I think I'd probably, I mean, given that I'm like drawing this mech that I talk about living inside of, I'd probably err on the side of being more nomadic. Whatever that means. Ugh. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I have this fantasy, I guess, of what my life would be like if I was in one of those movies and that was reality and I had to completely reinvent life as I knew it. Because we're all kind of used to what we've got right now. This is just sort of it. Like, everything's kind of comfortable and cushy and happy at the moment, at least. But, we are kind of what we are as a result of the way things are, like the way life is for humans right now. But if it wasn't like this, how much do you think you would change as a person, given how much your actual life and the reality of your life would change? Something that I always kind of think about. There's like this line in the movie, I think it's Rango, that Chameleon movie, where in the beginning he has this like this epiphany where he realizes that once his life is completely shifted and uprooted from like what he thought it was going to be, he realizes at that point in time that he can be anything. And it's this sort of freeing permission that he gives himself to kind of like do and be whatever. And it's something that for stupid reasons I always kind of, oh god, come back to and consider. Oh man, where's that layer? Ah. Is it that one? I think it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Scrabble. Because I don't know, like, as much as I'm happy with my life and who I am and everything, I still don't feel entirely me. Like, I still feel like there's parts of myself that I either don't get to exercise or I don't get to explore because life, as I know it, doesn't really facilitate in doing so. And I always wonder if, like, I'm the only person who has these feelings, because it's something that I don't really often talk about with anybody. Everyone kind of just seems okay with things the way that they are. But I also have a hell of a lot more time to just sort of think about random shit, because I'm typically in this lab alone, working on stuff. Haha. Noodle, what color is your head? Rango. Rango star. My head is the color of desert apocalypse. My eyes are windows that stare into your soul. My mommy is a crazy chibi with boots and booty shorts on that perches on my head and yells continuously for everyone in the desert to hear. She's a siren. I don't know, one of these years, Burning Man's gonna happen. I wonder if I could build like a light version of the Noodle Mech that could maybe carry me, which wouldn't take as much like heft to it, but could still like be relatively mobile. So like a fairly capable mechanism, but one that had maybe an exterior of like cardboard or something, or plywood. Something that wasn't entirely metal so that it could actually get it there in the first place. Be under that, but it should be here. Shadows are hard. What are they doing outside? I hate it. I don't know. And the conversation gets deep. I say that, but I haven't been talking for like forever. He. Noodle. Noodle says mommy is best mommy. Best mommy when fed mommy. I wonder where Mark is. Hopefully he's okay. I mean, I'm sure he's okay. He's probably just getting his hair cut, but I don't know. I know that when he gets home, I'm going to like jump on whatever food he has in tow because I'm like bonkers hungry right now. I don't know how I do this. It's probably not all that great for me. Let's do that. Too great. Noodle. If Noodle were a Jaeger. Mommy rim? Doesn't sound right. Pacific mommy. I wouldn't want to go into battle in anything other than my child. Wait, what? Aww. I wish that peaches were still in season. I went through this peach phase, like, towards the end of the summer, where I, for whatever reason, had a peach for the first time, amazingly. Like, I had eaten cooked peaches and things before, of course, but, like, I had never actually, like, gotten a peach from the store, peeled the peach, and then put it into my mouth. I'd never had that experience. So, it was kind of amazing. Like, I never thought that I would appreciate fruit so much in my life. It was I don't know if these peaches were just particularly that great, but they're pretty damn amazing. Like damn. Like I'm kind of bummed that it took me my entire life to discover the glory that is like the peach. This is actually kind of there. That's way better. And then on top of that, like I had, I think, fresh cut mangoes for the first time as well, which was also kind of a riot, if you will. And I very much enjoyed the shit out of both of those. They're real good. Real good. Mmm. There you go, Noodle. Noodle foos. That color. Peaches are good. What else did I discover this year? I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Probably because my brain isn't working right now. But peaches were definitely the thing. I went to Lynn's just recently, and one of the first things I did upon getting into town was march to the closest grocery store and see if they had peaches, which they did. And they were just as delicious as the ones from here. So I'm guessing that kind of everywhere it was magical peach season all over the world. I'm not sure if it's still the case. Like, I mean, I'm guessing that summer is just the season for the peaches, and that time has unfortunately passed. But if it hasn't, then I don't know. I might attempt to get me some good old peachers one last time. Cause man, they were good. It was a good thing. Rest. I also have to add Noodle's sack attachment back to him. His bag attachment. So one of the things I had to remove when I sent his old body away to Europe to go fly around all over, I had to take his sack, his like tea bag apparatus off of him because it wouldn't have made any sense given the context of the exhibition. So I actually had to remove a part of his body from him, which felt kind of wrong to do, I guess. So it's something that I do really want to add to the new Noodle again, just so he's not like traumatized without it. So I have to come up with like a mounting point in his undercarriage to give him his tea bag back. And I think I need to figure out how to fold tea bags, because I think one of the things I was going to do is actually add, like, make a unterrible sachet and fill it with like some cotton or lint or something, some fluffy stuff, and then make him kind of like a bigger, more robust tea bag for dipping, because the old one tore, and then he just sort of sprinkled tea everywhere that he went. So the backseat of my dad's car, the inside of my suitcase, the inside of my carry-on, the floor of this lab, all just sort of have like tea, like black tea, is kind of hanging out loosely, which looks like soil or something. So he just kind of leaked everywhere for a period of time. And that was because he had a weak bag. Mommy, unfortunately did not gift him with the strongest of bags. And I need to definitely change that in the future. You can't go through life with a weak bag. That's what they tell me. Oh no. Peripherals. Noodle has a new brain. I guess that's a new thing. Got his new brain gland that I need to install. Well, mommy and brain daddy need to install. Put the legs first, I guess. Oh shit. Ah. Noodle, noodle, kit and caboodle. Give him a hug and then he'll scoodle. I figure I'll just draw until Mark gets home, so I think that's going to be the designated stopping point for today, whenever that ends up being. I mean, I don't have to say this, but of course, you are not obliged to stick around. Because I'm sure at this point I'm like boring as hell just sitting here letting my batteries die from lack of food, talking about the hypothetical apocalypse where we all stomp around in the desert piloting homemade cartoon mechs that may or may not fight kaiju one day in the Pacific Ocean. Not that that's boring conversation or anything, but I don't know. I was kind of hoping that I would get that thing assembled before Mark left so I could test it and get like my fruition for the day. Noodle. Where's your neck, Noodle? Ah! There. No. Meh. I feel like he should have socks on, but that would be weird. Maybe he'd have graffiti feet. He puts the feet in graffiti. Huh? Here. What kind of graffiti would Noodle have on his feet? I don't know. Oh man. Or maybe he'd just have giant band-aids on his feet. Dot. Battle toes. I think he has to have battle toes. I think he does. Yes. It will be. It will be so. And those will be red. As they truly and surely ought to be. That's not what I wanted to do. The apocalypse. The apocalypse now? Don't fear the beeper. Don't fear the beeper. Do 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 do. Apocalypse. I wish I knew where Mark was. He has my food. Noodle. Toodle fist. The elevators in Lynn's, I remember. I don't know what they are actually saying, but it sounds like they're saying Noodle's name. So every time I'm in Lynn's, I feel like my robot and the elevators are getting reacquainted. Oops, that's not where that's supposed to go. That looks terrifying. Drawing is therapy. I don't know. There. It's like I need to get Noodle declawed or something. Get your Noodle declawed day. Bring your daughter to work day. Declaw your desert noodle. Desert Noodle says, I do not need to be declawed. I am perfect the way that I am. I feel like they should be a scene from Gravity Road. True story, there's actually a giant mech coming up in Gravity Road, like, very shortly, now that I think about it. I think the next scene after the one that I'm currently stuck illustrating features a giant mech piloted by one of the characters that's already been introduced. Not really a spoiler or anything, it's just... it's a thing that is going to happen in the near future. For those of you who are familiar with my comic. The one that I've been neglecting working on, like a bad raptor. Soon. So this is actually... moving. Yeah. I don't know what's up with my boob, but whatever. Noodle's on a ride. He's going on a ride. He doesn't know where he's going, but he feels so good inside. The sun is very shiny. His mommy's very whiny. Oh god. I should totally make the pen smaller. Smaller, smaller, smaller. Meh. That's still huge. Oh my god. The resolution on this is like really, really tiny. I don't know why I did it that way. These are supposed to be quick drawings, so this is probably like the most time I've spent on a Inktober drawing. I was gonna write. I think like after I'm done with the stream, I'm gonna switch gears and actually go back to doing the writing that I've been putting off doing. That's gonna be mode 2 of like the day. I think Noodle's mech has to have retractable toes now though. Now that I've like drawn this, it's like gotta be a feature. I wonder if Shape Daddy has any idea how we would pull that off. Shape Daddy. Huh? Raptor scream. Oh no. Oh, do I hear a car? I really hope I hear a car, because I think I'm gonna pass out and like die. I think that's a car. Oh my god, I feel like a dog. Like, you know when the dog like charges the door when their human gets home? I feel like that right now. I'm gonna be like, feed me. Feed me all of the things. There. Giant toe. Noodle. Noodle. Oh, I think I hear a door. Oh my god, I'm gonna pee. I'm so excited. I'd be like, Mark, make me quiche. Ah! Ah! No. Yes, I was waiting for you to get home. The next thing, I need to eat. We need to eat food. Food. Ah, can we make quiche? Oh god. I don't like that. I forgot we have to go to the floor store. I think that's what the plan is. This is nowhere near done. Meh. Huh. We have a long way to go, folks, before this drawing looks like a finished drawing. That's okay. Sorry. Ah! Hags? Ah! Noodle. We have eggs. Tamago. Desu ka? I forgot how to say we are. Wait, no. We have eggs. I forgot the verb to have. I don't think I ever knew the verb to have. So it's probably okay. Ah! Tamago desu ka? What? Mark? He disappeared. Oh no, that's not good. Mark! Alright, I'm gonna check the chat. Should probably color myself in. Maybe that'll be the last thing I do before I sign off, is just give this little comic Sarah shape some life. I'm like super happy about writing Mecha Noodle's head. Yeah? I mean, wouldn't we all be super happy to be writing Mecha Noodle's head? Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm still here. I'm alive. I'm gonna check the chat. I'm sorry I've been drawing things for so long. Noodle wants to know how he's going to get into that thing. Okay. Has to spin the eyes, dabbling in the dong. Then you're looking at shipping container sized feet. Yes. Shipping containers the size are made of I don't know what they'd be made out of. Shipping container sized feet. That's huge. Janek and Prometheus and Roland in that awful Dark Tower movie. Love a good quiche. Mark, we should make quiche.
Like now?
From France. Oh, bonsoir. Keep
What else
making
was
us.
quiche?
Oh, thank you, Tan Guy. Oh, also look for quiche Lorraine. It's easy to make and delicious. Yes. I have never met a quiche I don't like.
I don't know any Lorraines.
I'll find one and catch it. We'll capture it in the wild and put it in our quiche. Oh my. My favorite is goat cheese quiche, goat cheese and spinach. But we used to make a killer cowboy quiche down on the ranch when I worked there. It was like
Oh yeah, that's always good.
bacon and cheddar and onion.
Feta quiche, since we have a big giant brick of feta now.
We totally can. I'm down for a
Let's do
Greek
a
quiche.
Quiche. So what, spinach, feta?
Spinach and feta and tomatoes.
Okay, that actually sounds really good.
Deal. Ah, feed the meat. Doesn't look suggestive at all. I'm sure it don't. A giant rideable ahem is pretty Burning Man. Giant rideable dick? Wait, isn't one of the legs a different color than the others?
Rideable vagina.
Hot air balloon. Yes. Ah, everyone's telling me what they would live in if the apocalypse happened. Hot air balloons probably like the best idea. If you knew how to do it. Because you wouldn't want to just sort of like... I guess you wouldn't just fall out of the sky, you just slowly kind of crash. Call dibs on a nuclear aircraft carrier. That would be a good idea too, Tony. It's a good idea. Oh nah, if society collapses, I'm off this plane of existence. No, everybody has to survive. Man, I'm stomping around in a giant noodle. Because what would you do? Like, if you're just, like, in the desert and you're, or something, and you were walking along in your post-apocalypse vehicle and you just saw, like, a four-legged giant tank with, like, adorable eyes just sort of marauding through the wasteland, what would you do?
I would beep loudly to let it know that I'm a friend and not an enemy.
Yes. Yes.
And if I had beans, they would be out and presented.
You have to present them beans. Beans. I have like the hole in my mouth. I have a baby tooth like right here that I'm terrified of losing.
You still have a baby tooth?
Mm-hmm.
That never came out?
Yeah, there's just like a hole in my mouth. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
When I smile, I'm like, there's no teeth from here over, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There's like a giant hole.
God, you're fake.
I know. I'd wear a top hat and a monocle and be called the Moonlight Man. I like this idea. You could have a top hat, a monocle, and a hot air balloon. Lee, the Moonlight Man. Rango owns. I did like that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. Grow a huge beard, stay naked 24/7, and tell people about the future. People would consider me a really wise man or something. I like that idea too. Just be like the naked caravan man. Small single person Noodle Mech wouldn't be too bad. Hell, they drag part of a 747 to Burning Man. I swear I'm gonna start in some games in Discord soon. Ah, no. Take a peek in the Discord. What's blowing up in the Discord? Shit. Okay. Does pass out and die during a stream. What are we supposed to do? Oh, I'm not gonna die. I hope. Knock on wood. I think I'm gonna end the stream because it's been a minute. Oh wait, Mark's here, so I can test the leg. Do you want to help me calibrate and test the leg?
Wait, I'm laughing at me. Sorry.
Or should I take video and post it later?
Wait, what are you gonna do?
I need to eat. Okay.
You should eat. I'll make you an egg or something.
I'm going to post video of the leg working separate from the stream because I'm hungry. And I'm going to post this drawing I'm working on later today when it is done. whatever done means, for a little desert apocalypse jaunt. And I don't have a moderator in my Discord because I don't know. Why would anyone want that job? Okay, I'm gonna... Here, speaking of... I mean, do I throw up an invite when people are being inappropriate in there? Apparently I'm gonna have to go and drop my sack on the table and, like, do a throwdown. Which I'm afraid to do, kind of, but I'll do it. Fuck. That sucks. Why can't people just be not shitty? Okay, so I'm gonna go eat food because it's time, and then I'll post stuff later. So until then, this is the... Oh, nope, don't scroll over yet. Nope, there we go. Alright, this is the thing I'm gonna finish doing at some point today. It'll be just a noodle and then maybe some Mad Maxian trucks storming through the desert, being cute. This is way too cute to be a post-apocalyptic... Whatever, doesn't matter. Woo! I'll show Mark in a second. And then I will get some footage of the foot leg doing, because I'm thinking it's going to work. And one last time, that's this foot leg. The foot leg of the noodle baby. So I'm thinking this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the leg. Still has a little bit of play, but that's probably because it's not tightened. Nah. Not tightened up as tight as the tightness could be. I'm gonna go with that. Alright guys, thank you for keeping me company again today. Definitely, like, when I do my next stream, like in another day, might be tomorrow, I will show the leg working, because it'll probably already be hooked up and calibrated by then, if it works. If it does not, then I'll report on why it does not work and talk about a fix for the next iteration, which will be version 2, revision 4. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but in the case that it does, you'll hear all about it soon, because this is all I'm doing for the rest of the year. This is like it. This is hell or high water. Sarah's getting this leg design honed so that the kid can walk finally. Otherwise, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have no self-respect. Mark, do I have self-respect?
I would think so.
Okay. Well, I don't want to lose it, so I'm gonna work on not losing it. I'm gonna work on not losing it. Alright, I'm gonna go eat. Alright? I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Keep making awesome stuff and be a pizza. The good kind of pizza. Oh my god, your hair's gone.
It is.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go sniff Mark. Alright, see you guys. Sniff the Mark. Sniff him.